What's going on, guys? It's Jack here with John talking NBA draft prospects. And today, doing something a bit different, we're going to be discussing by college team. And the first team we are looking at here in this video is Duke. So we're going to be taking a look at all the prospects from the Duke Blue Devils. So they have 3 diaper dandies in this class: Jayson Tatum, Harry Giles, and Frank Jackson. They also have the sophomore Luke Kennard, as well as 2 senior draft-eligible players who I don't expect to be drafted, but could end up having careers down the road in Matt Jones and Emile Jefferson. So, John, why don't you get everyone started here and just give your thoughts on Jayson Tatum?
Yeah, I think Tatum is definitely the clear #1 player from Duke this season, especially since Jackson and Giles had injury issues or couldn't really get their way into the lineup with consistency, unlike Jayson Tatum, who I think personally is one of the safer players in this draft. I think he's going to be a very good scoring forward guard, wherever they wind up putting him, probably at small forward. I think he'll be really solid. I'm not sure he'll necessarily be a star for a team, but I think he can be a really good #2 piece and #1 scoring threat. So I think Tatum is definitely the clear #1 from the Duke Blue Devils, and I think he'll definitely wind up being a top 10 pick at the very worst, maybe top 5.
Yep, I agree. I tend to think Tatum is one of the top 3 safest players in this draft class. And as you alluded to, even Tatum actually had injury issues early on this season. It was a class marred by injury issues, and Marquise Bolden, the freshman who didn't make it out this season, he was kind of ravaged as well by injuries. And I don't want to talk too much more about Tatum. I think John hit the nail on the head with Tatum there. But you look at 2 guys in Harry Giles and Frank Jackson, who I think are basically on opposite ends of the spectrum, right? You look at a guy like Harry Giles, who had a ton of hype coming in to the class, #1 prospect on several sites, but he just had so many injuries. He wasn't able to get a consistent flow going throughout the season because he fell behind Emile Jefferson in the rotation, and Emile was just playing too well for anyone to leapfrog him. And Giles didn't have his recovery in his explosiveness. Now you look at Frank Jackson, who was a little bit, I don't want to say underrated, but he definitely didn't have as much hype as the guys at the top of the class did. He came in, and because of the injuries to some of the top freshmen, had a really impactful start to the season. When those guys came back, slowed down a little bit. He didn't have the consistent playing time that he needed. And then towards the end of the season, he got back to it, especially when Grayson Allen was injured and they were bringing him off the bench. It really enabled Jackson to get into more of a flow, and therefore ended up in this draft class, and which was definitely at least a year sooner than many Duke fans thought he would be. And it has a potential, both Jackson and Giles, to me, are late first to more likely second round prospects.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's going to really affect Giles' draft stock is going to be how teams check out his knees and what they think of his injury potential down the road. I could see a team taking a risk on Giles in the mid-first round if they feel comfortable with his injury background, because he has that, elite level athleticism and talent that just not many guys his size have. So I think that Giles is definitely could be the second guy off the board from Duke, depending on what his injury report comes back. Luke Kennard is kind of similar to Tatum in that he's kind of a safe player. He'll never be a true #1, a true cornerstone for a team, but I think he'll be a really solid scoring option for whichever team gets him, kind of in the mold of former Dookie J.J. Redick. So I think he'll be really solid for whoever winds up getting him. This is a loaded draft class, so he could go anywhere from mid to late first to early second, but I would be fine taking him mid to late first round. And then Frank Jackson, I think he'll be solid. He's definitely going to need some time to develop, but I think he can be a really solid off-the-bench type guard who can come in and give you a little bit of scoring as long as he cleans up his overall game. Now, Jack, with these 4 guys, who do you think has the potential? Do you think that Harry Giles or Kennard could potentially rise above someone like Jason Tatum, who will probably go before those guys, but may not have the ceiling that those guys have.
Right. I think Tatum has a higher ceiling than Kennard for sure, but I do think that even Jackson could in theory have a higher ceiling than Tatum, just because he's so explosive in terms of getting to the basket. He has a lot of work to do in terms of cleaning up his point guard abilities, but you know, you look at Harry Giles, obviously a guy who was formerly the number one prospect, he has a ridiculously high ceiling. He's an elite rebounder now, and so if he's able to get healthy, sure, I could see them passing. I could see his ceiling passing Tatum, but I don't think it's likely. I wouldn't put that anywhere, you know, in a high probability, and I wouldn't want to put money on that bet. I would take Tatum in that scenario. And really quickly here, I do think Kennard is going to be the second Duke player selected, and it's because of what you said, the safety factor. I just think you look at Jackson and Giles, and while they could be home run picks, there are definite question marks. And Jackson even had he had an injury recently that's going to put him out until July or so. And so really Kennard, I think, is a safer pick. You know he's going to be a great scoring option. And you could definitely get him in the mid-first to maybe late first round area.
Yeah, and just... We'll try and look at this from a macro level real quick. Jack, where do you think this compares to some of the past Duke Blue Devil draft classes that have come into the NBA in recent seasons?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think this class is probably the most talented, right? You look at the scoring ability of Tatum and Kennard, the potential in guys like Frank Jackson and Harry Giles, and I mentioned them earlier, but both Emile Jefferson and Matt Jones are very, very good defenders, and I think, you know, similar to a guy like Lance Thomas, who it took him a while to find a role, I think both of those guys have a chance to eventually, if not in their first professional year, maybe it's their second or third year down the line, finding a role in the league, because they do understand what it is to be a role player, and for a lot of guys that's a tough transition, but since they already are accustomed to that, I think it's going to be a benefit for them moving forward.
Alright guys, that's what we had to say about the Duke Blue Devil class of 2017. Let us know what you think, if you agree, if you disagree. What other teams do you want to see as profile? Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening, guys. We're out.